Everyone dreams of living an uncommon life, and the best asset you have to achieve your dreams is you. Welcome to the Uncommon Wealth Podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living uncommonly. We're also going to give you some tools and strategies for building wealth and for pursuing an uncommon path that is uniquely right for you.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Uncommon Wealth Podcast, where I'm your host, Philip Ramsey, and I'm with the one and only
Aaron Kramer.
Holy cow.
Oh my gosh.
It's in studio, which it's our favorite.
Yeah.
We like to do that.
It's been a little while.
It has. It has. We've been talking about this whole money mindset, this whole thing, and this is our last one. I feel like it's been good for me just to kind of walk through all the different topics.
I love this. It's just a good reminder.
It is. Okay, for those who have just tuned in because you haven't tuned in before, welcome. This is a fun show. I like it.
Yeah.
We try to give you tips, tricks, and ideas, or we interview people that are living an uncommon life. So,
in an entertaining way.
In an entertaining, well, is it?
I don't know.
It is to us.
It is to us.
Okay.
Hopefully it is to you. I don't know. If not, then I'm sorry.
So let's jump into this. It probably won't be a long podcast because we only really have two topics. But the second topic we're going to talk about has like really detailed, like sub kind of
a little bit
ideas.
more depth to that one. Yeah,
that's right. All right. So let's just talk about the first one. Nothing's free. Nothing's free in the financial world. And if you think it is, you're going to be sorely mistaken.
Yep.
That being said, I do feel like there are people that try to give a lot of value and they don't necessarily need to get paid. But at the end of the day, nothing's free, right?
Nothing's free.
It's probably they've got that wisdom by spending a lot of money. And if you want that wisdom out of them, it's probably going to be the most beneficial for you to pay money.
Yes.
So there's other advisors out there that don't charge for a financial plan, for example.
Yep.
And what they're trying to do is then sell you probably a productized investment. Maybe it's life insurance, maybe it's an annuity, but it's probably going to be like an upfront sale for them. So you just got to be very leery. We are kind of opposite, where we try to do customized financial plans, but you have to pay for it.
Yep.
And then at the end of that, you guys can take all that wisdom and knowledge and you can go somewhere else. But I would just say a good rule of thought, and it doesn't have to be financial. We talked about that, but it's just nothing's free.
Nothing's free. And I think that's one of those things you got to make sure you don't get tricked on this, because there's a lot of people out there. I think there's a lot of people out there that call themselves financial advisors or financial planners.
Yep.
And really they're just insurance salesmen.
Yes.
And they'll give you this big spiel about an insurance policy and how there's no fees or anything in it. Yes, there is. That's why, for instance, I'm not going to say products, but they're all, no, there's no fees ongoing. No, there is. That's why they're locking it up.
Yep.
And that advisor or / insurance agent got a huge fat commission.
Yep.
They had to pay that advisor a commission for you to do that. And so now you can't touch it for 5, 8, whatever the
10, 12 years.
Yeah, 10, 12 years. So there is fees in there.
There's absolutely.
And then also every insurance policy has to have a death benefit towards it. So then those again have fees.
That's true.
So nothing is free.
And here's another thing too that I think a lot of people just not think about is my 401k is free.
Yeah, it's not.
It's definitely not.
There is fees in there. You have your plan fee, your administration fee, you have your fund fees. You have there's fees in there, and the DOL never got to the 401ks.
Oh.
It got to our stuff, advisors, but it never made it as far to get into the 401k. So it's kind of hard to find all the fees.
Oh man,
it's a pain in the butt.
It really is.
Whereas if you're working with an advisor, especially one that's a fiduciary like we are, we have to show you.
Right.
I know we go overboard in showing you things that we don't have to, but we do. Mm-hmm. But they don't have to show you a 401k. No. Now, if you request it, but you got to know how to request it.
Right. And it's kind of, it's lost in the sauce, if you will.
Yeah.
It's way down there.
Yep. And they're not going to show you the fund fees, how much those are. You got to look those up yourself or have an advisor do it. So, again, that's not free. Mm-mm. They're good. No, I'm not downing 401ks. They're great tools. You're just saying.
Nothing's free. Here's another thing, too, that if you're my financial advisor does a financial planning fee and they don't have to work with me. A lot of those will have an assets under management that they'll have to
Minimum.
manage. Yeah, a minimum. Like, oh, sorry, you have to have $250,000 for us to do a planning fee. And so it just never really sat well with Arron and I of like, okay, you have to have such and such amount of money before we can work with you.
Yeah.
That didn't work. So we just had to create a different business model.
But also, like, we don't charge our investment portfolio fee is much less than those people that include that in there.
Dude, it's ridiculous how low it is. And my peers always are like, Philip, the amount of service that you give your clients, like you could almost double your price of assets under management. And I'm like, I just can't do it. Like that's just too common.
No, it's like, well, that, and it's like, again, I still stand behind this whole, if our clients win, we win.
Yes.
Fees matter. Fees a drag.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that philosophy has paid off dividends in our practice time and time again.
Yep. So
and even if like we give our time away for free, let's say we take somebody to coffee or lunch or whatever, we have a Zoom meeting with them. At the end of the day, like there is value that we're giving.
Yeah.
And then we believe that because we're giving so much value, eventually they're going to come around. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they do. Yeah. Because we really do want to give somebody enough track to be able to run on for them to run their own uncommon plan by themselves. Now, at the end of the day, they're kind of like, you're kind of fun to hang out with. Let's run together, which we appreciate.
Yeah. And there's sometimes like it's rare, but like sometimes like I had my client like, or a prospect, great prospect. Met with them and showed them that like, man, you should be getting a lot more from your current advisor. So they started hunting. I got to be in the hunt. Was super privileged to do that.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like our firm wasn't what they were looking for, but like, I mean, like, it was great. Like me and my wife went on a double date afterwards. They told me no. Like I still love them to death. Like they did something amazing for them.
Right. And we weren't a chameleon. And they just decided like, oh, this is what we're looking out for over here. A little bit better than what we're looking for instead of what you're awesome. Yeah. Like that's great.
It's amazing. I'm so happy I got to be a part of it and to help them make that good move.
Right. And so I think that attitude too is helpful. So we're not just trying out there nickel and dime people, but also too, like there's a cost that we charge in order for really to engage in the whole thing. Because we don't details that we.
That's the other thing too. Like I will tell you from my own experience in Phillips, when you're selling something that's a commission based product, you got to think that that's done. Like you get that commission, you're done.
Yes.
So where's your next income paycheck coming from? You got to go find it.
You got to go get some more people.
Yeah. And I learned this early on in my life or my career. I was like, I can't do this. Like I signed up to help these people. They signed up for me to help them. Like I want to stop and be able to help them. So again, that planning fee is like, no, you've paid me and I have money coming in to feed my family and put food on the table. Like, no, I'm here. Right. Let's do this. Yeah, you know, like it's not like, oh, here you go, bye. But also like when we're talking about nothing's free, to change the subject a little bit, it's like also think about politics. Like not like our government, like nothing's free. Like think about where your taxes go.
There's a ripple effect to everything.
Yes, you're paying for it, you know? So if you're listening to this podcast, you don't know it. Our politicians, we pay them in our taxes. So it's like nothing's free. Just know that like it comes somewhere.
Yeah. So just think about that. And also I like to do this little exercise, follow the money.
Follow the money.
I was a pharmaceutical rep for a while and I was like, wait a second, like they're for-profit company. They're teaching us and pouring us into us training for us to go out and then talk to doctors. Well, follow the money. Like, think about the advice they're giving us because they want they want us to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yep.
I'll just say that. And so when we go out to talk to people, there might be a different perspective and it just might not be the one that you were taught. So that's interesting. But
I love that. Follow the money. Just follow the money. Like, because there's always like, we're in a very weird time in the world and nothing's free. So that's like, if you follow where the money is going, you'll see who's benefiting from it. And then, you know, like the intentions behind it.
That's right. Okay. The next thing is that we're all flawed. And I love this. I'll talk about this all day long. Yeah. We all have like our own preconceived notions. We all have like our own beliefs that are right. And then the other scary thing about, we have a couple subtopics in this, but we'll just talk about we all are flawed.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's basically the overarching theme of this. But we believe we're right. Like I believe I'm right. And the other scary part about that specific thing is that when we're scrolling through our whatever you're scrolling through, the AIs or whatever, they know algorithms, they know exactly what we want to be reading and what we don't want to be reading.
Yeah.
Which further entrenches us to our own flawed thoughts. Yeah, right. For example, this is a dumb example, but let's say I think underwater basket weaving, I made that up by the way. is the best sport ever. Well, guess what I'm going to be reading more and more of? Like how popular underwater basket weaving is becoming and how it's the newest thing. And
yes.
And so you get further and further inside, like, I'm right. And like how damaging that can be for when I come out and, live in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't heard of underwater basket weaving? Like, everybody has heard this.
Yeah.
What a dumb example. But you get it. We're flawed.
We're so flawed. I mean, keep going with that line, and I'll just make it more even heated in topic. Like,
yeah.
And I'll go back into the politics thing. Like, me and my wife, like, we kind of have a different view on things in the whole political world. Mm-hmm. Not extremely. We're pretty aligned in a lot of things, but we definitely we teeter-totter ourselves out.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
And I remember it was a couple of years ago, or probably more than a couple of years ago, but we're sitting in bed and we're going through and we're arguing about something. I was like, no, I saw this video that explained this. She's like, no, I saw this. And we both pulled up our videos and like,
wow.
Same topic, different. It was like, oh my gosh, different viewpoints. Clearly, our algorithms were just feeding into our beliefs, and it was just like, wow. And both of us were like, we're spending too much time on our social media, like, because it was influencing our thought process,
right?
And we all want to be right. Nobody likes to be wrong.
Nobody likes to be wrong.
So like, we are so flawed to begin with. And if I know it's such an easy thing to go with, but if you are a believer.
Yeah.
Like, we're told that we're flawed.
Yeah, right.
And so I think the most dangerous part about this is like, oh yeah, I'm flawed. It's like, hold on, like, are you flawed? And then how much pride comes with it? Because like, you can get overly prideful, like, no, I'm right. I'm smarter than you. It's like,
right.
Maybe. Like a lot of people are smarter than me,
man.
And I love hearing their insights on things, but it's like, but do you have the time to research something? Like, because that's what I do all day,
right.
For certain subjects, like topics, like, but it's like, I don't know, you'll like this and see it show you how flawed, like, so we're so flawed. My thing to counteract that is like, I have my goal, to read 100 financial books.
Oh yeah.
Dyslexic Arron reading 100 books, that's fun. It's quite the journey, but
not easy books either.
No, but like then the fun thing that's come through that is like, cause a lot of books are saying the same things, investment books, but on my journey, cause I think about halfway, you got to get other schools of thought.
Oh man. Yeah. You can't just stay one track on that deal.
Yeah, you can't. There's not enough books to like just on one investment philosophy or one money philosophy. You have to start learning other money philosophies, like other people think. And you're like, oh, this is amazing. Cause you get so like, oh, this is the way it is, and then to hear other schools of thought on something, you're like, oh wow. So you really get to like force yourself to hear somebody else's like school of thought. But then I experienced it. I was like, no, this is the way you do it. And then you read a book and you're like, makes you question.
Okay. So then here we go. The next thing, you led me right into the next thing. I think we have tendencies to believe anything. I know I do. Okay. So we're flawed. So like if I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, oh yeah. Like, I don't know if it's empathy or what, but I'm like, I get it. I get where you're coming from. And I kind of think that's right.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to believe whatever we're in front of.
And what we want to hear.
That's right. And that I think is scary.
Yes.
That's how scammers get scammed.
Yes.
So we have a tendency to believe anything. So,
and we want like the silver bullet, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like where it falls into this.
That's we're flawed, and then we have like this. We want to circumvent, or we want to like cut corners.
Yeah,
because we want to try to get things quicker.
Yep.
That could be our society, or it could just be how we're humanly.
We just want the easy path, or so, like why can't we get there? Other people have gotten there. What's the trick of how they got there?
That's right. That's right.
And we see this a lot in our industry. Like somebody always wants like, oh, this new thing. This is like all the rich are doing.
Right.
And it's nothing.
I saw this one lady. She was talking about cryptocurrency. It was on my social, whatever.
Yeah.
And she was like, I guarantee you that I'll make you money. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like instantly triggered since I'm licensed.
Yes.
You're licensed. Like she isn't licensed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. And like, what a bold move.
Right?
Like bold. And she was like, I'm pulling in 6 figures and, living the life. And I'm like, she's got to be getting paid for all the people that sign up. And that's probably why she's making all this money. I'm not saying that she's not, I don't know, but there's no way I can guarantee anybody making
You can't guarantee it. But I think it's so scary. Like I talked to somebody about this one time because they're trying to hit me up, which I think these crypto people, or what's it called? Like crypto, no. Anyways, they hit you up as an advisor. And it's like, well, I'm licensed. Do you have to get any license to help people with crypto? It's like, no. I'm like, that's scary.
Yeah, right.
Like, you don't.
I think that's probably the day's coming when that is not going to be the case.
Yeah, but everybody wants a silver bullet. Like, and the thing is like, for everyone that's listening out there, again, this is like, everybody knows this, but I want to say it, is if there was a silver bullet, like cryptocurrency, people that made all their money on crypto, guess what? If you've already heard about it, people making a ton of money on it, it's too late. It's over. Like, just like if you got into like Apple at the very beginning, everyone that made a bunch of money on Apple, like, again, it's over. Like, you ain't doing it. As soon as you hear about it, it's over.
Yeah, right. So it's just interesting that I think that's our tendency, is just to believe what's in front of us, I'm a believing person, I'll believe you. And so it's kind of nice to surround yourself with people that, one, have a different perspective, and then two, are not necessarily seeing what you're seeing. Am I seeing this right? And then they can be like, maybe, but, and they kind of give you that counter.
Yeah, but do your homework, ask questions. I did learn, like, I know you and I are like this, and this is fun to go into this, like, believing everything, because you got to get cynical in life a little bit. Ask a lot of questions, and if there's certain people out there that will be telling you this like silver bullet, like to get you to believe this thing, great story. If you start asking more and more questions, and they got to keep answering harder and harder, they get frustrated and get mad.
Yeah, because you're not agreeing with them.
You're not agreeing with them, or they're feeling threatened. It's like, but if it is a good idea, and you keep asking questions they don't know, you'll see their excitement go up even further, because you're like, so I don't know. Let me find out. That's a great question. I need to know.
Actually, seen you use that tactic.
Yeah,
to people that I've known. It's
I know.
Fascinating. And they did get very frustrated and flustered. Oh, that's good. That's good. I appreciate that little anecdote. That's all right. Let's go to the next thing, which is kind of like we're flawed, but we are more attracted to thinking of fear mindset, or like the market's going to go down. Like there is an attractiveness that like people are drawn to. Don't know what that is, although that we're flawed. But like we have a tendency to try to hear. I would say Glenn Beck was one of those people. When I was a pharmaceutical rep, Glenn Beck every time was like, the market's going to crash. The market's going to crash. And like there was something like, it was interesting just to kind of get drawn into it. I wasn't even a market guy at that point. But it was interesting to hear that. And then the more you heard it, the more you thought it was going to happen. It was a lot of years before the market pulled back. I'll just say that. And so at what point does somebody's like, stop talking about that? Yeah. No, they never do. Yep. Because we are attracted to this like fear, which is fascinating to me. What is that?
So like, so the science behind this is fun. I thought this was so fascinating when I learned it. Is you think about back when we were like cavemen, like going out and about, like beyond like boundaries was like super dangerous, because you wouldn't come back. You'd die, right? Like you might. Then your whole thing was to stay alive. Well, so now life is really safe. Like the chances of you leaving your house, your cave, and coming back are really good. Yeah. And so, but then how long can you live without money? You have no money. You're not going very far. Everything costs money. Remember, nothing's free. Yeah. So you get really protective of it. But for some reason, think about anything. You look at our news, everything's selling fear, because fear sells. So here's the fun part about this is, Philip, like, do you know what happens to your brain when like you're on a fear tactic?
No, dopamine hits?
No, like your frontal lobe shuts down. Oh. So you can't, like, if you're overly fearful, you can't critically think and process through something. So actually it takes more intelligence to be optimistic, to think through something and to think it's going to be good. But like science shows and studies show, like if you have two guys super uber smart, like one's from MIT, one's from Harvard or whatever, and have like all these fancy degrees, one says the market's going to crash and has a good reason why the market's going to crash. The other one has really good reasons, maybe even better reasons why the market's going to keep doing well.
Go up.
And they both they're both submit to like be on the news. Mm-hmm. Guy that says the market's going to crash, he's on the news.
Way more popular.
Yep. You're going to get way more hits, way more ratings, like, because people are going to tune in and like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose all my money.
Have to hear about it. Yeah. And then they're going to believe anything.
Yeah, they're going to believe anything. They're like, oh my God, I got to pull my money out,
Wow.
So but it takes more intelligence to be optimistic, because you got to stay cool, calm, and collected to think
use your
through
frontal lobe.
the data and use your frontal lobe.
Okay, well that's it. I don't know. That's fascinating.
I love
this
that.
whole little tidbits that we've done for the past. Man, we've done it for a while. It's been at least for the beginning of the year. Has that been really?
Yeah.
It's been really good for me just to know, like, just talking more about these things that make people successful in investing or in running a business or anything. I think all these are all tactics and small little, I guess, pearls that you can take and start thinking about, like, how is my money wired when it is regard to either life or money?
Yeah.
So
it's such a big deal. I mean, we lean on each other. Like, we know these things. Like,
Right.
I've read a lot of books. And, like, I have the knowledge. I'm human. I'm flawed. And I still need check-ins, like, on my own stuff.
yeah.
Like, I have the knowledge. I feel like I have enough knowledge. You should be like, oh, you should be good. It's like,
Yeah.
no. I'm emotional. I have emotions. Like, I need check-ins. I need help.
right. I think we all do. You know who's really good at this? I'll just totally just edify her here. Is Ashley. Ashley Fox on our team.
Oh, my gosh, she is.
She's really good at this. Like, she is never like, yeah, the market's going to go up. We're moving on. You know, like, let's go.
Yeah.
Which is good. And yet she doesn't have a lot of client-facing opportunities to, like, see the fear that people have. But she's just always really good. Resolute. Yeah, like, the market will go up.
Yeah.
You know?
She is so good at staying the path.
She is.
Like, no, don't pull out. Like,
Yeah. It's fascinating.
and it's great to see people like do that. And you're like, wow. You know, she knows the numbers. She like knows what, and she knows what she believes, and she doesn't quite like. She just goes.
Good. It's good. All right. Well, you've been listening to Uncommon Wealth Podcast. I've been your host, Philip Ramsey.
And I'm Aaron Kramer.
Until next time, just know you're flawed.
Yeah.
And know that nothing's free.
Nothing's free.
Thanks for listening.
That's all for this episode, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.